I got out of it. So that was along those lines.
Gotcha.
Okay? Because when you know, and to explain the joke, when you snort coke, for those that don't know, it makes you willy, a wee-wee. This is a willy. This is a wee-wee. I had a wee-wee. My dick looked like I was in the third grade. It looked like it was that big. It looked like a little door stopper, like it was like that. You know what I mean? And I was just like, what the fuck happened? And for a few hours, it stayed up in there like a turtle shell. Like it was up, and I couldn't even know. I had to wait for the coke to wear off, and then it dropped back down. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, but I will never do that to you again. And I mean, and all the boys used to laugh at me when they was like, if you want to know if Jack been doing coke, ask him to take his pants down, right? And it was just like it was like a running thing that we did. But that was the type of stuff that I would do on stage, like little stories of stuff that happened. You know what I mean?
Are you influenced by any comics? Were there comics you watched growing up, whose style maybe
you know what
you didn't even realize until you started doing it?
I like I said, when you off camera, you never know what a person is or how they are, you know what I mean, until you're home with them, okay? So I used to always look at Richard Pryor. And even when I was watching, you know, him as a kid growing up, I was like, he used to tell stories.
Yeah.
He would tell stories. But then I saw this DVD that just came out within the last couple of years. Because on the trailer, it had Bernie Mac when him and Samuel Jackson was singers on it, so it's not that old. Mm-hmm. But it was his first improv. And my whole attitude about Richard Pryor changed after I saw it. Because I never knew that he read notes. Right?
For his routine, you mean he had?
Yeah. So he had them in his coat pocket. And he would look down there and read his notes. But see, I didn't know when I started comedy that you supposed to do it on stage. So on open mic night, these guys would come on stage and they would be doing their comedy, and I would pick at them, right? Because I'm like, they're not telling jokes, they're reading out of a book. I said, that's cheating, right? Well, I didn't know it was legal. Mm. So with me, I just had a head full of silly shit that I was gonna talk about. You know what I mean? And they'd be up there reading the book, and they'd tell, and they'd be like, "Yeah, so well, that was funny. Let me try this one." So I'm like, so when I saw Richard Pryor doing it, I was like, okay, he had a coach. They saw potential, and they grabbed him and formed him into what he was. But he had a coach because he was reading notes. And then he did two things on stage during that little set that just screwed my head up. One, he dug in his nose and ate a booger. And I was like, and then he was like, he said, what? He said, everybody digging their nose and eat boogers. I said, no, they don't. And then he was like just talking, and it just came out of his mouth like out of left field. He said, yeah, I suck dick. So I'm waiting on the punchline. And there was not one.
I have a feeling that will not be in the New Jack Act.
And I begged him to go back to please finish that joke. I said, Richard, please finish the joke. Please finish it. Go back. You forgot, so you left something off. And he didn't. He left it at that. And it just came out of left field. And after that, I was like, well, maybe I'll just do my best on my own, man. I said, this has made me. Everybody made me nervous now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, listen, to succeed in comedy, you don't have to put snot or dick in your mouth.
You know?
This isn't the WWE. You know, in a lot of ways, it is kind of like wrestling when you think about it.
It was.
You're on the road.
It was.
You're alone out there.
It was.
And
they
you got to
played-
beat up people sometimes.
And they
Verbally.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know what? The funny thing, I told this guy, and I actually made a setup. I mean, I took it on stage with me one night. I said, I heard these two comedians. Like when he told me, he said, man, that guy done almost got into it twice, man. He said, I hate to fuck him up. He said, but if he keep messing with me, I'm gonna fuck him up. And I said, bro, you know what? I said, if I found out a comedian was mad at me, I wouldn't be upset or nervous or worried. I said, because a mad comedian after me, I would be more in fear of a woman being mad at me than I would a comedian. I said, what are he going to do when he catch me? Tell me a joke?